Welcome everybody to Palantiring episode again.
Because it really is like we're trying to pick out the stocks that Palantir's just been nuts, right? It's been fantastic, and so a cat has spent a bunch of time with his super cat memory looking through charts and saying,
Yep,
"Hey, here's a bunch of charts that look like Palantir before they've Palantired really." So we're kind of going to revisit those, and I think we could make some crazy projections about the future, the medium term and long term. But yeah, start us up, Kat.
all right. Anyway,
Yay.
here we go.
Woohoo.
Figures, it's like Palantir, celebrative starting sprinkle banner. Anyway, what you see here is the monthly chart. Here on the left side, you got others. On the right side, you got IWM. And both these charts, if you just glance at it, if you just don't even look at any indicators at all, just ticking everything off like we always like to do. What do you really see here in terms of the formation? Do you think this formation is bullish, or do you think this formation is bearish? That was Matt. What do you think?
I would say it is a very bullish scenario.
In Tracker, do you think that is a bullish scenario, or do you think it's a bearish scenario?
Those are bullish because you can clearly see the cup and handle, and then there's just another handle for the handle.
Okay. But what about the double top thing? I mean,
where?
Could this just be like a double top and just kind of, what do you think about that?
Where's the double
this
top?
Is the top, right here.
Oh, you mean
right here.
It traces almost all the way back to its all-time high?
Yeah, imagine me after a breast transplant laying flat and then looking back, that's what I see. Because if it's silicone, they're really unnatural and they don't flatten out when you lay down. So you would see
they're great until you catch the corner one of those things.
All right, just with a little tangent here. So to basically look at this looks like a big giant cup. It looks like a very beautiful hand over here. And it looks the same, right? If you look at the Elliott wave kind of formation here, what you would think about this would be, this is the downtrend here. This is the correction of this big giant move up. This is the correction of the big giant move up from here. And next thing you know, we're kind of starting a little bit of a new cycle here. Now the question is this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's the end of the cycle? Or is this the big one? And this is like a corrective wave 2 here. And then we're getting ready for a big giant flag, a wave 3 that's gonna make a lot of people get caught off guard over here. Same thing here with IWM, which is the Russell 2000 small cap. Others is the cryptocurrency market cap. Excluding the top 10, this is basically all of the altcoins and all the small cap crap like PEPE and, Dog Whip Hat and Fartcoin and all that stuff. And then here is basically your small cap stuff, I don't know, like Ally Bank or something like that nobody cares about. They are both looking like they're wanting to kind of consolidate over here with a handle, and they're both looking like they're looking much better. If I just pull up the Bollinger Band here, which is probably my favorite indicator. I don't know about you guys. You might have your own favorite, but my favorite so far is still the Bollinger Band. And you can see how it has kind of dipped underneath of it. This Elliott wave flat over here with higher highs and higher lows had dipped underneath of the 20-month moving average, getting a lot of people really scared and really bitter. Same thing over here, the IWM getting a lot of people really scared, really bitter. And all it did was just kind of came back down, grab some liquidity, and it eventually bounced back up and is reclaiming the 20-month moving average right now. The 20-month moving average is still relatively pointing up over here. The Bollinger Band has been squeezed because things kind of been going sideways over here for quite some time. And it looks like it's going to expand here on both the others chart and the IWM chart. And again, if this is wave 1, this is wave 2, then we're getting ready for that wave 3 that we have not seen for quite some time. Has anybody really felt that euphoric like we did, many years ago? I haven't really felt that euphoric. Have you? Have you, Matt? Have you felt euphoric?
No, but when people start to feel it and you see a lot of euphoria start to form on X, then they just send things lower again. And then it quickly dies. And then they're all depressed again. Just like Coinbase, they're super sad again.
Well,
And it's so
Trump is-
crazy too because they'll be like really excited, like when Bitcoin is like under 100,000, it's like ooh 90,000. Oh, it's getting really exciting. Ooh, we broke 100,000. Let's celebrate. And then it goes to like 112,000, and it goes back to like 98,000, and they're like, it's the end of the world.
Yeah.
It's the end of the fucking world.
Ooh, man, Trucker, you've been fouling your mouth lately. I'm gonna put soap in your mouth.
Sorry, it's my 11-year-old son. He's been swearing. He's been swearing so much more. He's been hanging with these other foul mouth kids. And they're all like in a competition to see who can like sound the most foul.
Sure. So you're blaming your son for making you sound foul. Yeah.
I know. I couldn't blame him. It's a poor craftsman that blames his tools.
But even Coinbase, this looked like an AOA flat here, right? And this looks like potentially the beginning of wave 3 because it's very, very impulsive, and this could be the first correction. This may be like the sub 2 of 3 potentially, right? And who knows how low the sub 2 of 3 is going to go. But basically, you're hitting the previous all-time high here from IPO, and it's forming a higher low over here. How low does a higher low get? I don't know, but to me, it doesn't really matter whether or not it's the 3 teens, 320s, 300, 290s, 270s, 240s. To me, it doesn't really matter that much. I guess it matters if you're holding coin L because you do have significant decay. But to me, it doesn't really matter if it's 31, 25, 20, if you eventually going to end up having that big giant breakout, potentially. I'm not saying that it's going to happen, but I guess I'm positioned potentially for that. Maybe I'm a fool and maybe I'm a dreamer, but that's kind of how I do it. I mean, Ozzy was a dreamer. He lived a pretty full life, and we, wish him the best. But yeah, that's kind of what I think. Tracker, do you have anything going on over there?
I've got a lot of stuff going on here.
Let's pull you up
all,
here. I'm done talking.
I want to say, I remember when I was 11 years old, and I experimented with a lot of swearing too. So it's not just like today's kids; it's every 11-year-old throughout history. I mean, like 11-year-olds in the 17th century, I'm sure, learned the power of swearing. But anyway, here's Matt, if you could bring me up here.
Yeah, Matt.
I'm going to show my SPY chart. I spent hours in the SPY chart getting ready for this. I wanted to show you guys this. This is ARCA. So it doesn't have data earlier than 1993. It's not the fancy NASDAQ data that's got more like the history all the way back to 1913 or whatever. But anyway, all I really need is this. Let's see, 2009. That's the financial collapse, financial crisis. And then best backtracking from 67.10 in the SPY to 155.75 was the previous all-time high. Well, I guess actually that's the previous all-time high there, but like it was here. Then it kind of wicked above it and then went back down and made a new lower low. So I'm just looking at these fibs here from 67.10 to 155.75. And then these extension fibs, right? These are retracements. And then the retracements, you can extend them to like Matt likes to use the 1272 and the 1414 all the time. But you can go to like the 1618 and the 2618 and the 3618, etc. And then what I've been finding out lately, or you've been hearing me really excited and talking about it with Kat and on the show and stuff, is how you can take any of these fibs and you can subdivide them. For example, like I could say, if I wanted to get a feel for the action between, let's say, we're up here now, right? We're somewhere between the 1272 and the 1414. Actually, I can go like from here, 0 to 1. And I got it backwards because I was just messing around with it. And I switch this to reverse. Okay, there we go. 0 to 1. And I can pull this across. I can say let's see, do this. So there's 0 is at the 1272 and 1 is at the 1414. And you can look through this zone and see, let's see, here it got to like the 707. It kind of came up through the 0, go up to the 707, test back to the 1111. Back to the 707, sends it into the negative territory for a while, back into the previous fib area. And then, excuse me, it gets stuck right here. It tests right up to the 88888, which is great. It almost gets to the 1. I would say if you subdivided this one from 888 to 1, it got to the 8888 of the 8888, right? And then it runs all the way back down to the 50% level, the halfway point between 1 and 0. That's the final liquidity grab before it then goes past 888, breaks out. Part of it back tests. These are monthly candlesticks. Part of that month back tests 220.71 before extending on past the 1272, the 1414. Back test the 1414 once it gets into the up above the 1618. Anyway, all that is just this little section here from 1272 to 1414. Now, you can also do things like bridge it over spans because it's all fractal. Everything, it's all fractal. I could bridge it from the 100% here to the 1618, and you'll see very similar things. Here it back tests the 2929 a bunch, comes up to the 618 as resistance, 2929. It oscillates between the two of them before it gets over the 618. And then in this case, it's interesting because it just kept on going through the 888, didn't backtest the 50% level. But you can see it got penalized for not backtesting it because then later, once it tries to get, it can't get to the 1272, it has to backtest this 786 back here. This wick is this one's 786. Anyway, some of what I worked on here was to try to come up with some other interesting and useful ways to look at this 0 to 1 here and the SPY. And let's see, I've got this one right here on the right-hand side. So what I did was I took the 6710 bottom and I said, what if all we've gotten so far, this right here was a back test of this halfway point, and then they did a liquidity grab below it. And then really for, from all of 2021 through 2023, we were stuck between the 702 and the 786. And then in 2024, we run straight up for the 8888, the 8886 actually, would be just below here. And we can't get above the 8886. So what it does, it comes back and it backtests this entire fib back to this larger degree 786. And so you can see here, it's this is one thing I was talking about. I'll circle back to this. The reason why I know we haven't had a wave 3 finished and a wave 4 backtest yet is because you would get a space, and I think I've shown you this guy before in some other shows. Where can I do this? I'm just going to do it in this little space over here. Usually, for 5 waves up, you would get, say, like 618, 236, 1236, and then the 764. There's a fib space. It doesn't show up here because I've got it turned off, but there's a fib space between the 618 and the 764, and it does not, the wave 4 does not touch the wave 1 top. This is actually wave 3, subwave 1, but it doesn't touch it and it doesn't go below it. And then you get the extension to the 2236, which is somewhere around about here, actually. Let me just get that off the way. So when you look at a chart and you see price, it runs, it backtests, and there's no space. There's a little tiny bit of space, little teeny tiny space between this backtest bottom and that previous top there.
That's what she said.
I know, right? Then you go back to the 786 and you can clearly see it runs up to the 786, runs down, goes up to 886, and then back to 76. There's no space here. So this is also not It's not like wave 1, wave 2, 3, and 4. This is all just still part of a wave 3 at best. I mean, at least, I should say, at least. So one way to look at this is that maybe you could say that this is like 1, or I'm sorry, this is the wave start. Here's your wave 1, and here's your wave 2. You know it's a wave 1 and wave 2 when you get these wicks. When you get a really nice wick up and a really deep wick down, that's a good one too. And then, so this is really just the smaller degree 1 and smaller degree 2. I'm just waiting for the vagina joke. Never mind. And then
I won't give it to you if you ask.
Thank you. And so, and now we're still just in subwave 3. And then, so 3 will be up here somewhere, and then it'll come back down, and the wave 4 will have like a fib space between the wave 1 top and the wave 4 bottom. So, maybe something like this. And so this is just 3, and then 5 is like way up here. Sorry, my handwriting gets really crappy when I'm using this tool because it tries to smooth all the lines. But anyway, so what can I do useful with this? Well, I can go ahead and I can say, well, and that was the other really interesting thing was that since you can span any number of fibs and it's fractal, I can take this as a 0 and I can just say, well, what if this is the halfway point? And what if we're just trying to break out over the 88888? And then now that we're above it and we backtest to it, now I'm going to get really close. Look, these are 1 month candlesticks. And what do? We backtested that 8888 right there. And so now we're ready to just go higher. It doesn't have to go any lower. It never has to go below 620.28 again, at least until the wave 5 is complete. And then, so where's the wave 5? Well, probably way up here at this 1272 or the 1414, like on a larger scale. Okay, this is what I did. I went ahead and I made a little group of retracements, not this one right here. So I went from this, I guess I need to change it now, or let's see, I want to be exact. This 786 is 479.49, 479.49. And then I'm going to 819.04. So all I've done is I've subdivided from the 786, from the 786 to the 100% that I'm anticipating, right? I'm just sort of imagining. And look, what are we doing? The halfway point in this logarithmic scale, mind you, log scale, the halfway point from 479.49 to 819.04 is 626.67. And that is where price is oscillating right now. The candlestick of this month that we're in is sort of just trying to decide if it's going to be stuck under it for a little while. Like, are we going to be, we could end up, so there's 2 possibilities right now. Either we're going to be stuck underneath the 50%, but it doesn't go lower than 889, and then it goes over 50%. Or we can just stay on top of 626 and then start our ascent. And this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking forward to start the ascent and just keep going. So 626.67 is like this important crux right now. Below it, and we go sideways, we just consolidate for longer. Above it, backtest to it, then we keep going. Actually, let's look at this weekly chart. It's almost there. Like it's hard to tell. We're kind of oscillating around it still. Anyway, and just to show you that I didn't like make this stuff up, and it really is fractal anywhere. I mean, basically, cat, like, name any fib on this that you can see here. Just name any fib, 111, 236, 292, any of these. All right, never mind. I'll just pick one at random that I already drew earlier. From the 298 to the 236, or from the 236 to the 298. All right, I just picked a couple at random here, and all right. So what did I end up doing? Oh, why did I go back to 104.07? I was doing something else there. Well, here I'll just move. I'll move it. So from the 236 to the 298, and you can see in this case, this is why I moved it, because it went straight to the 100%, tested back to the 2929. The action's not very interesting here, but it is more interesting if you kind of take it down here. But that kind of, let's take it to the next fib down. Let's take it to the 111. All right, so now you can see that price after fighting with the 111 boss here, it went up to the almost the 707, and then it couldn't get higher, so it goes all the way back down to the 2929. Then it makes a V-shaped recovery, gets over the 707. Back, once it tests back to the 618, it says, okay, now we can go higher. Then it goes to 888. And then for some reason, it fooled everyone and didn't get, it went over the 888 but didn't go higher. Sends it all the way back down to the 50% level again, and then below the 50% level, back to the 786, then 100%, back to the 786 again, and then it moves on, and then it gets out. It's like some of these fractals have different patterns than others, but they all respect these fibs. Anyway, the useful thing is that I think we can watch these fib levels right here. All right, so assuming that, like I said, the 626.67 is a very important level to get over. And then, maybe we asymptotically approach the 618 and then have to retest like the 2929, because you can see there's this gap here and it was never filled.
Boo.
Yeah, maybe it will have to get filled.
Boo, back test.
I know, we'll back test. So from so let's say 50%, the 786 would be the best one. But I've been saying for a while that 666.66 would probably be the sign of the devil. This might send us back. Anyway, that's and then then it never goes below the 0. Hopefully this time, and at the most extreme, it could go to the 1111, and then right back up to the 8888. It loves to do this move and then spend a whole bunch of time in here in between. So we'll see if we get this, or if we can just break out. I know, right? It's crazy. Or if we can just break out and be done with this. All we have to do is get maybe the 618 back to this 50% level, or maybe this 2929, and that would close that gap.
The market is a scam. If I see that,
it's just
wow.
it's just the same fibs over and over again, because it's the same human behavior. And just like you guys have noticed, right, with Bitcoin, let me show you this here. It felt like the bottom dropped out of the crypto market, right? But all Bitcoin did was it went sideways for 2 weeks. That's all it did. It went sideways for 2 weeks, and everyone freaked out and said, "Oh no, it's the end of crypto." And all those guys that came out and thought, "Oh, we're going to be the next Michael Saylor." I too have a crypto treasury, but mine's based on Tau. Mine's based on XRP. Mine's based on Ethereum, which everything's based on now except for Bitcoin. And then they all got sent from like these amazing highs, like here SBET. Where's SBET? Or BMNR. Here's Bitminer. And it got sent all the way from these fantastic highs to what it feels like the abyss, right? But all it did is it kind of went halfway back. It went to, on the log scale, $165, and now it's only $26.81. Or that was the low it hit last week, anyway.
You think it bottomed?
I think it has. I think there's some symmetry here that tells me it's just again, maybe it's like a fib's worth of space that's kind of created here.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have to retrace. What some people call a gap, I just call opportunity. I think maybe it's just done testing this. This could be support. And maybe all it needs to do is just go sideways for another, however many days this is. These are 24 hour, these are 1 day candlesticks right now, 24 hour candlesticks. Give me time. 22 days. Maybe it has to go sideways for 22 days for this moving average 75 to catch up to it, and then touch it. That's support, and then it can go up from there.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, these are the kinds of things that I spend my days thinking about and working on and wondering about. And
Man, these nuts.
I know.
It's
Here's
pretty.
my chart again.
Yeah. So to summarize, you think we still have a lot more room to go for the remainder of 2025 and into 2026 based on what you're seeing?
Yeah, let's see. I sort of have this idea that kind of was sparked from Larry.
The cable guy. No, I was just kidding.
No, not
Larry.
the other
Yeah, I
guy.
know we should. Yeah, the guy actually is like a really good trader. I forgot his name. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot his. How good it was, right? I forgot his name. Anyway,
2025 to 2026. So, for some reason, Larry Ellison keeps coming to mind. This is not Larry Ellison. Let's see. Let's just use these. I've got this sort of idea that from. All right, here's what
Larry
2025
Williams.
started. Larry Williams. Thank you, Larry Williams.
Oh my goodness, that bothered me. Okay.
First quarter down. Second quarter up. Third quarter higher low. Fourth quarter up, and then we get to do the whole thing again in 2026. Something like that. So here, let's get rid of this. I'll make this darker.
Man.
This is kind of my idea for, and again, here's the beginning of 2025, January, and then the beginning of 2026, right? Yeah, there's December 29th. Hey, come here, I swear I clicked you. There. And maybe it does, maybe something like this, right? So this is kind of what I'm imagining. Maybe it doesn't have to go quite so deep.
That's what. Wait. No.
I mean, it's not going to be the SPY. I'm sorry, and I don't mean the SPY. I just mean like sort of in general how it feels. I don't think the SPY is going to 800 this year. This is just me saying, like, in general.
Like when a man meets a woman, like you don't have to go that deep.
Exactly.
Like
exactly.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. No, I hear you. I mean, I think the bottom line is things goes in waves and things goes in cycles. It doesn't seem like the cycle's over yet. It's going to do its thing, hitting one level, bounce up from another level. But the overall trajectory is that things are still looking up.
Yeah, like if I have to convince you guys that the market operates in cycles, you can pretty much just see it here. Everything's a fractal. Here's the V-shaped recovery. Here's a V-shaped recovery. Here's a V-shaped recovery. They just keep happening over and over again. The market, it gets exuberant. It runs up for a while, and then it has to backtest all that exuberance to an important previous level. And here, all we did was in the financial crisis, we just kind of couldn't make a higher high, and then backtested even deeper than before. It basically went all the way from 1990.
What do you see
back
now?
to 1996 again?
Yeah, what do you see for small cap
IWM.
for like the more risk on things like IWM or something else?
So I was playing with this just before the show. We were asking about this, and you can see. No, it's not. It's not my balls. It's one note bigger than the other.
It's somebody else's balls. That's what they always
say. It's a cup and handle. It's a cup and handle. But just sort of like an Adam and Eve, sort of, right? The Adam's sharper and the Eve is kind of rounder.
That's their names, huh? Okay, thanks, Trucker.
I think you're welcome. Cup and handle, Adam and Eve. And then this is sort of, I was just playing with this idea of like market symmetry where it looks kind of like the same thing upside down over here. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. I mean, really, I think there's something to this actually, but I couldn't tell you what it was yet. No. So where we are right now, it's the same thing. It's just now I'll just let's unsee this. Here's your cup, and here's your handle, right? It just has to get to this, and there might be like one more little one here before it breaks out. Just like those W's for winning, it always does this little bit here that backtest, and then it runs up. So, cup and handle. We see these all the time, everywhere. It's everywhere we look in the charts.
Yeah.
So anyway, this isn't the show we promised you. The show we promised you was talking about Cat's picks for the next Palantir. And what better way to start than why don't you show it? One of you volunteer to show us what Palantir did. Why do we care about Palantir? Let's answer that question in like 5 minutes.
Well, that's Cat's chart that he's been talking about for a while.
Yeah, I mean, with just real quick here, honestly, it's really based on a couple of things. It's really based on 2 or 3 things. One thing is, if you look at the log fibs here, and this is something I also have picked up from Matt too. Whenever you break up some of these higher level log fibs like 0.76 or 0.86, or you break through that, generally you get a lot more, higher escape velocity for prices kind of go a lot higher, and when I was seeing that, I was like, you know what, that's true, because whenever I see that you start getting Boltzmann expansion and that happens, that generally becomes extremely impulsive when that happens. That's kind of what happened in the Bitcoin bull cycle in 2015, 2017, when you break above these levels and Boltzmann expansion just kept going higher. So when I was looking at that, I was like, you know what, I think it's going to keep going. I think it's probably going to last for at least maybe 12 months or so. And then 12 months later, it just went boom, 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 and just hit all these different levels over here. Now, if you ask me, are other stocks going to look like this? This is a very unique situation. I don't think any other stocks going to be as beautiful or as parabolic or as clean or as easy as Palantir. This is a zebra, and it continues to be a zebra. It basically on Ichimoku monthly here, it hit the tank over your back tested that used that as like a launching pad, broke away from the golden pocket here and just shot up to the moon, and it rode the tank of the blue line up along with it. Occasionally, it decided to test back test on this stuff and just kind of kept going, right? So my question is this: are there any other stocks that don't necessarily? I don't think anything's going to like do the exact same thing Palantir does. I think Palantir is Palantir. I don't think anything else is Palantir. But the question is, it's just like, you're not Jesus, I'm not Jesus, but what would Jesus do, right? It's those kind of, if you don't believe in Jesus, that's fine too, it's just saying, you don't have to be that, but are there any kind of signature to kind of signify that could be the case? Now, what was my first pick? My first pick was, and so far it's been kind of poo-pooing right now because...
Oh, wait, I'm sorry, Kat, can we back up just 1 second? Go back to the Palantir chart. And I just want everyone to identify, look on this chart and you can see where the cup and the handle, and then there's another little handle before it absolutely takes off.
Yeah,
and
so
Kat's finally pointing to it without saying anything.
So very similar thing here. Cup, handle, it keeps on forming these handle, bam, bam, bam. Basically, it's just trying to eat away supply, and it's trying to go up a lot higher. That's what it looks like right here. Now, it did break above the 0.76, which was bullish here, but although it got rejected at 0.86, it had to come back down to 0.618 and grab liquidity to push up higher again. This is our third try, so this is not nearly as clean or nearly as powerful as Palantir at the beginning stages of it. It also took a lot longer than Palantir to build up this big giant base, cup and handle. But it could also mean that whenever it ends up escaping, it could end up being a lot longer too, right? Who knows? So what we're seeing here, we did have 2 monthly candle close above the 0.86, so it does set up a potential Palantiring type pattern, although we did get rejected here from previous all-time high. We end up having come back to 0.86 because of news, earnings, or whatever. And it could overshoot that. Right now it could go down further. I mean, does it go down to 0.76? I don't necessarily think that has to be the case, although that's certainly possible. Before that, you got the Tenkan, which is right there. Conversion line is just right there around 293, which is going to be maybe an area that we could touch. It looks like might as well just touch it at this point. And that's kind of what Palantir did, right? Before it really started to launch, it really was kind of, back testing the tank and the conversion line over here before it shot up. So that could be a potential launching pad right there for it to keep going up. The other thing too was initially before this one started, it did have a little bit of Bollinger Band expansion here to the downside, but now because we kind of gone sideways over here for a little bit longer, we did have a little bit of a contraction here. So nothing's perfect. The month's still early. If we end up just wicking down to 0.86 and holding, I do think that Bollinger Band is probably going to flatten and widening again. So that's one potential possibility would be Coinbase. If that's the case, then it would push for the all-time high, would hit some of these upper targets up here above. The other candidate was, like one that I was looking at is IREN. These are miners. And miners, they're not everyone is doing this. They're only selected ones that are doing that. IREN is really pushed through 0.76 here with Bollinger Band expansion, right? It's very similar thing over here. Look at the other one that I've been buying here, Galaxy Digital. It's been basically doing the same thing. It's pretty much broke and closed above the 0.86 here last month. So far, we're still having a little bit of a hard time kind of getting back above of it, but Bollinger Band is expanding here on the monthly. It's kind of like a very, very similar setup, right? You look at Ichimoku, it's already spoke about the Ichimoku, it's already back tested tank and order conversion, is getting ready to go over here. What other things are on my list here? Let's see, SoFi, right? SoFi is trying to break above the 0.86 up here. It's doing the same thing. Already booked very convincingly. 0.76 got rejected 0.86. You pull up the Bollinger Band here is expanding, right? So it's got a very, very similar setup over here. If you're looking at Shopify, it's basically got a very, very similar setup over here too, where earnings are coming tomorrow, and I think that it's broke through 0.76 here very convincingly. It's probably going to gravitate up to 0.86 here. We'll see how it reacts. If it doesn't get up there from earnings, it probably come back down to 0.76 back test, send whatever time needs, and it'll go back up. But the Bollinger Band is expanding over here too, so that's also another potential candidate. I'm not going to go for every single one of them. Last one I want to go through is like silver. The reason why it's silver is really more like a 3-month chart, because this cup and handle is lasting a lot longer. You can see that it's really started from 2011 all the way up to here. You do a fifth sequence here, it basically broke about the 0.76 this month. It looks like we got the Bollinger Band expansion happening over here too. So on a higher time frame, I think silver wants to do well, even though gold is actually not looking that great, which is interesting. But they don't always have to do the same thing. So anyway, those are just kind of my thoughts in terms of that. Now, when it comes to Palantiring, is kind of synonymous to me as wave 3, right? Because if you look at Palantir, if you must put a wave count to it, Tracker, how would you count this wave? Would you count this as wave 1, and this maybe is wave 2? And then
this is the crazy thing with Palantir. These stocks that are going Palantiring, it is really difficult for me to identify a clear wave 1, 2 with these. Yeah. It's almost like it's ABCing up. It's like a big corrective. No, I'm serious. It's like part of a big pattern, and it's so big we just can't see all of it yet.
Yeah.
And so it's like a mystery to us. It looks like it's going a straight line almost.
Yeah.
It's kind of like it went A, B. It's like A up, B down, and then C up again. And we just don't know what the valuation of the company was before the record, before it went IPO'd. Mm-hmm. So it could have been obviously much lower before. And it's kind of goes A, B, and then we don't know where C is exactly, but we could try to make some inferences.
Yeah. And then also look at the beginning chart they were looking at, look at others, and also look at IWM. They were making some higher levels up here. It looks like we are having a little bit of Bollinger Band expansions over here. They're basically doing very similar things, actually. Both IWM and the others chart, they're both trying to break about the 0.707. They're both trying to reclaim the 20-month moving average to go up. And they both look like they got a little bit of Bollinger Band expansion thing going. So if that's the case, then even these things could potentially go Palantiring too, and hit some of the higher FIB levels up here above. I'm not saying that it's going to go all the way up, like to the sky like Palantir is doing. I'm just saying that they're mimicking what the technical thrust, if you will, as to what Palantir was doing. That's all I'm saying. So
yes,
yeah,
very much so.
Yeah.
I kind of keep playing with these fibs on Palantir. Let me show my screen for a second, Matt, and we can.
Yeah, and then after that, I'm going to let Matt talk because I don't think he's talked a lot yet. He's probably okay with it, but
I'm still here. No. I had no idea.
All right, so one of the things that we get excited about Palantiring, right, is this here. So this is the all-time high, and here's the all-time low. So a retrace from the all-time low to the all-time high, 0 to 100%, and then you can see the extensions 141, 1414, and then the 1618. And Matt was talking about just last month, because these are monthly candlesticks, about how, oh man, this is the 1618. And he was like himself arguing with himself, should I take profit here? Because it's beating up against this 1618. And, he didn't. And look, it's continued on. It's still going. So when we talk about Palantiring, we're talking about like getting from like this 886 level and then crushing it all the way through the 1618. So in this case with Palantir, from the 886 to the 116 to the 1618 is about 340%. Now compare that to Coin, which here's from 0 to 1, and we're fighting with the 886 right now. And actually from right where price is right now, about 279, about 278, 298 to the 1618, that's 620% higher. So this is what we talk about when we talk about looking for the next Palantir. We want this kind of price action. Let's see, Galaxy GLXY. This is great. This is a brand new palette of charts. I don't have anything here. This one's a little tricky, right? Because it's a different kind of company. I could take all the data. Let's just hypothetically take all the data. Let's go 0 to 1. And then the 1618 is way up there. And we're not even at the 618. We're trying to get over the 618 here. The 886 would be like the final boss. And then from the 886 to the 1618 is, oh my God. We're never going to do that. That's 93,000.
What?
Let's just go back to this one right here. I'm sorry. Let's back up the boss.
Woo!
It's going to go to $1 billion. Yeah.
$1 billion forever. All right, let's do this one here. From this
You heard it here first.
$38 to a little bit more than 10 times less than that, or 1/10 the price, $2.43. And then from the 886, which we are fighting with right now, 886, and then to the 1618 takes us to 207.86. That's 630% higher for Galaxy. To go from the 886 to the 1618. And even just to the 1414, it's 300%. To the 1272, it's 187%. Just if it got sent back from this 1.168 fib, it's still 113% just to fail and get sent back to the 100% from there, if that was going to happen. And so that's what we're talking about when we're talking about Palantiring. And now I'm going to hand the reins back to Kat, or if Matt wants to chime in about any of this.
Let's have the great Matt speed convince us how bullish the market is. I want to hear his perspective.
Because he talks about it every single day. Every day. Painting back the naysayers.
But he does this like, oh, but it's your resistance. Be careful. Oh no, it's you guys got to be a little bit careful. Buy support, But then there's that granular accumulating mat, and there's also like this like hidden behind the closet erected mat.
Well, that mat's not going to $1 billion. Yeah. $1 billion per share. It's not going there. The market's not going that bullish, Kat. I hate to break it to you. It's not. But yeah, I actually have a comparison of the IWM that I kind of want to share with you guys. And essentially, using the 2-week chart for this Gann square, we can see this level right here. And the blue level has flipped back to a support. And I just want to point out why things are really still just beginning. And it really reminds me of back in 2007 and 2010, 2011, right here. You have one hump here above the orange level, above the blue level, then a collapse, then kind of a collapse, and then another little bump up above the blue. Then you had a little bit of a bump up above the orange here, back to the 45, and multiple times went back to the 45. And granted, that probably should have stopped at the 45, but there was like a very big crisis there, so it just went all the way down to the orange angle. But it still followed market symmetry. It just went down to levels further. But the 45 probably should have held the whole time. Just there was an existential crisis. But besides that, it's very identical to this time, like almost the amount of time taken too, right? From 2007 to 2013, basically 2020, 2019 to 2025, 26 maybe, right? It's basically almost identical to what we're seeing. And right there, when we had that second hump right there, that was really kind of the beginning of everything, where it just had one last flush and then it was just consolidating, ready to go higher. And we just had that right now. Back in April, we had one last flush, kind of ready to go higher. And we're basically establishing a nice foundation above that 215, 214 zone that I'm seeing right now. And after that, it was a multi-year bull run, right? So is this really going to continue more and more years, like another decade, really? Maybe. All right. We don't know how much liquidity is going to be in the market, but all I'm saying is this is looking more like the beginning than it is the end. And this is looking like it has potential to continue the journey up to the 27 or the 280, maybe the 300. The next level up here is not $1 billion, but it's 500, right? 551. And over time, over a series of 10, 12 years, it did get up to, or actually it was 2013, right? So maybe like 8 years, it got up to that blue level. So perhaps in another 5 years, could we get up to that 550? Possibly, right? But this is just proof in my eyes that we're kind of mimicking the past. We just back tested the 45-degree angle multiple times, and we are ready to just consolidate a little bit longer until I think the launch mode is active and are activated. And like Kat was saying, the others chart is very similar too. And this one, I have some fibs on here, but this one has been basically maintaining that blue level for a while, but this one is actually inside of the arcs now, just getting a little bit more consolidation, kind of getting ready to go higher. And the others, the next level up here is at 4 trillion. And that's a pretty big increase from 270 billion if that were to go Palantiring. And how big of an increase would that be for others? That would be what, a 1,400%. And like people scoff. They're like, oh, that's it? Only 1,400% for altcoins? Why not the 100x? You know? But basically, it could go more, right? We don't know where the stopping point is going to be. We just got to follow the charts, follow the momentum. And if levels break, like what we're seeing with Palantir, right, this level could break. And why could that? Well, if we go to the Palantir chart, it tells the story that, guess what? It broke a level. It broke another level, right? We can just take out the fibs here, and you can see that the reason why I was kind of cautious of Palantir, because that was the 1.618 fib. There was a GAN level right there. But look what price is doing right now. It's shooting above it. So if this keeps on flipping resistance levels to support, then the altcoins could do the same thing. IWM could do the same thing. So that's why when people ask, well, what do you think the top is going to be? I'm like, well, it's not just one absolute number. It's always moving. Just like everything on charts, they're always moving. Moving averages are, it's in the word, they're moving, right? The averages change over time. So should the targets based off of time, based off of price action, based off of liquidity, based off of everything. So to say something like, oh, it's definitely just going to get to 360 right here for Palantir and then stop and then that's it. That's just a very one-sided way of looking at it. I think it's a little bit biased because we don't know, right? We don't know the stopping point. And that's why I had a dilemma over the weekend. Just like, I don't know what to do because it's really got momentum, but it's at major resistance. But I can't just let the major resistance stop me from selling out because it has the momentum. And sure enough, the momentum is more powerful than a lot of people think. And it's just carrying it forward, carrying it on and on and on. And what I'm looking for now is just maybe stability for Palantir on top of this 160, maybe 159. If so, then yeah, we can start to see 200, maybe 250. And the top of my GAN square here is 366. So anything is possible when it comes to following the momentum. Don't have your mind made up for taking profits, in my opinion, because if you do that, you're going to sell too early or you're going to panic. You're going to panic sell on any dip too if it does drop. So this is something that is bullish. Everything is really bullish. And especially the way IWM and others looks, I just think it needs a little bit more time before things are ready to go. But yeah, this blue level right here for IWM 213, it just looks like it's ready to go. It looks like it looks like it was ready to go right here too. But when you compare it back to the 2009 financial crisis, it was a similar situation, right? How it looked like it was ready there too, but it had one final dip before it was really ready. So now that we got that 2025 flush over with, everybody's expecting another crash, but I think we already had it. It's not likely we're going to get another one in the same year. So
Why?
that means...
Why are you showing your Telegram? Why are you showing your Telegram?
What's that? I'm showing my Telegram?
Telegram.
What?
What?
Oh, never mind. Yeah. Hey, I got a question for you. I heard that the top comes whenever the PP ratio, which is calculated by the girth circumference over length, is greater than 100, and that's going to be the top, and you're supposed to short it. Is that true?
Well, basically, I think the best thing to do with shorting is when you see a really bullish stock with a lot of momentum, you just keep piling on your shorts. Every time it breaks into all-time highs, you just keep adding your shorts and just adding your shorts, and then just keep adding them. Just because one day you're going to be right. That is the only. You just have to have enough money. You just have to have enough money.
What about, should I long UNH? Anyway, we'll get there in a little bit.
Oh yeah, I see UNH there. Yeah, but yeah, I wasn't showing my Telegram. I think you just gotta pay attention to what's actually going on there, Kat. Yeah.
I was looking at the Telegram. I was like, why am I showing? Anyway, I'm an idiot. Dude, so IWM's looking like it's getting ready, and looking like it's really like in launching. What about crypto? You mentioned others. Are there any other signs you like Bitcoin, Ethereum, anything else you're looking at that is looking like risk on is getting set up and people are just kind of like not believing in it?
Yeah, I think the biggest risk on sign is right in front of everybody's eyes, and that's Ethereum right here. And this is the big old 786 fib, right? This is what we've been waiting for. I know you and I have been waiting for this for a long time to actually flip it to support. And guess what just happened last week? It just broke out of the 3376, back tested it last week, and it's stabilizing above it, which is really bullish, right? And not only that, it's finally got above the weekly Ichimoku cloud, and you go to the monthly, it got above the monthly. It actually broke above the monthly 3 months ago. And it was like building a base on top, and then it was launch mode, right? So we could do the same thing here, maybe build a base on top of the 786, and then maybe launch mode could be activated. And then perhaps your Bollinger Band expansion will happen. But right now we're still contracting, and we're not expanding whatsoever. So this is, in my opinion, one of the most bullish charts now out there in crypto besides XRP, because this is a very, very sexy chart. Wouldn't you agree, Kat?
Oh yeah, and that thing you promised this morning's audience to talk about XRP as well. You wanted to go ahead and show it?
Yeah, well, it's not doing much, right? And that's because it had a gigantic move already. We were getting some Bollinger Band expansion, but it kind of like some re-expansion a little bit. So you can see it was re-expanding a little bit, but now it's contracting a little bit more. But it's kind of like Coinbase, how it started to expand a little bit, and then the sell-off kind of made it just contract a little bit more. So we'll just see that probably a little bit more consolidation before it continues to break out. But I think this monthly conversion line, how it's finally upward sloping, I think you pointed it out, Kat, basically last week or maybe yesterday. I don't even know. But yeah, it's finally just really upward sloping now, which is going to probably add some very good velocity to the upside. And it's just getting stuck by this 2.272 fib right there at 310, which is, if you don't remember, it is the 2013 top, 2014 bottom. It's just that random fib right there. But I just like it so much because it kind of predicted the 2018 top right there. It showed the bottom in 2020 of the 1.272, and essentially we're still getting rejected month over month over month at it. So we have not closed any monthly candles above it yet, ever in history. So we're still waiting on that. But I think the way this is shaping up, it's looking more likely than not that it wants to remain super bullish after spending, 9 months just riding the conversion, the baseline together. And now it's finally upward sloping a lot for the conversion line. It looks like it's ready, right? It looks like it's about ready to launch into space.
It's
another
a
one,
cup and a handle and a teeny tiny little handle.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it's ready too. It looks more ready than Ethereum right now because it has all the bullish components to keep pushing it higher and higher and higher. Wouldn't you agree, Kat?
I agree. I mean, I look at the same things you were looking at. So, yeah.
And another one that looks extremely bullish right now is HBAR. I think what we're seeing with HBAR is not that chart. Let me go to. I have another chart here. Okay. Yeah, with HBAR, the only thing that's kind of blocking it right now is the monthly conversion line, but it is very, very upward sloping, so it could not offer too much resistance as well. But the last monthly candle is a big deal because not only did it get back inside the monthly Ichimoku cloud right here, there's the little green line there of the leading span A, but it also broke back above my arc here, and it got back above the baseline, and it did briefly get back above the conversion line, but because of that wick, it kind of just shot up the conversion line this month a little bit higher. But it looks ready as well, right? It looks like it's trying to break this 702. Then we got the 786 up there. So it has a few more steps to go. But on the weekly chart, it's really just a breakout backtest of the arc happening, maybe even the bottom of the cloud. So around 22 cents. Even the conversion baseline is on top of that. So it's another chart that's looking very, very bullish for continuation. That's even could go to the 120s, 180s, 320s up top. I mean, we just don't know where it's really going to stop out at, but something that's already this explosive this early on when not many charts are at their 702 level or even close to the 786. Many charts like Link or AVAX, they're still way down the fib chain there, so we're still waiting on those breakouts. But Ethereum leading the way, XRP leading the way, HBAR leading the way, and some things are just going to catch up a little bit later. But all the signs to me are showing that most of the large cap altcoins are looking like they're going to push higher and higher.
Yoo-hoo!
Yeah. That's all I got.
Woohoo!
Woohoo. Anything to add, guys?
Man, I'm playing around with all sorts of crazy stuff like dividing the SPY by money supply and dividing XRP by money supply. And, Kat gives me so many great ideas. But
Once you can do division, it never stops.
I know.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want to do.
You can start doing like just derivatives of all sorts of things.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's really interesting. Here's XRP. If you show my screen real quick, Matt. XRP divided by M2 on log scale. Yeah, let's keep with log scale. And so from the low, it doesn't have a lot of history. For some reason, it only goes back to June. I'm not sure. Maybe it's the iteration of the M2 that I'm using here.
Well, you gotta go type in XRP on Bitstamp. So if you click on there, then you go to then you just switch the XRP to Bitstamp.
Thank you. Bitstamp.
Yeah. No. Don't.
Oh, don't do that. Don't do that. Hey, just the Bitstamp.
No. Just X out. Yeah, just click it. Just take out the Coinbase and leave the XRP, and then just click it. Yeah, take off the Coinbase, and then just leave the XRP USD, and then go to Bitstamp. Yeah.
Okay, great.
And now enter. There we go. It should be more.
Still doesn't have a lot. I think it's the US. It's the M2 that's like limiting reagent here.
Yeah, maybe.
But it's interesting anyway. It still shows just the fact that even just recently here from this low to this high, it's sort of asymptotically approaching the 786 here. It's making higher highs and higher lows, but it's just, and it looks like it's kind of consolidating here, and you'd think that the Bollinger Band is getting really tight. And in fact, it is. So I don't know. Maybe it's getting ready to make another move. So this is XRP. Subtract out the money supply. So this is just actual people who are really interested in XRP, not just money sloshing around everywhere, but the ones that actually are investing in XRP. You're seeing an increased investment in it over the last couple months. Anyway. That wasn't as exciting as I was hoping it would be. But yeah, I think Do you guys want to do the requests in the last half hour? Make the
Well,
people.
Yeah.
I got a few more crypto. Like
Oh,
I
please,
just wanted
absolutely.
to show
Go for it.
Doge as well because somebody asked about it.
I just want to say thank you guys, all out, our fans, the people interacting in the live chat. It's hilarious. It's a fantastic live chat. I wish it could somehow be included in the YouTube replay later, but we've got the best followers here.
Yeah, Cat can add the chat feature back on there if you wanted to. You can replay the live chat if you really wanted to.
That's funny.
Let's see. Doge monthly chart. I think Kat and I both noticed this one. Opening a new candle back inside the monthly cloud. Finally, for the first time since this fake out back in October, November of last year. So this could be the gateway drug to higher levels, right? And then we have the fibs here that it's really just maintaining the 19 cents. It actually just went down there to back test it. What was that, yesterday or a couple days ago, over the weekend? And that might be all we need to continue the journey up to the 26, 30, maybe 27, even 30 cent zone above. So this is looking ready to continue higher. It finally broke out above, got inside the cloud, back tested the 19070. And a lot of charts kind of look like this, even on the weekly chart, like Link. The Link in the monthly also got back inside the monthly cloud, and same exact thing, really. Flipped the 50% to a support, even back tested it just there. But even better on the weekly chart, it's finally back above the baseline conversion line and all of that rigmarole below. So this is looking ready to go, right? And you did mention PEPE too, so I can just show you that. But this one is not as bullish as the other ones here because it's still below the baseline conversion line, but it is trying to maintain this 1.414 fib as a support, and that is from the high to the low down here, from 2023 high to the 2023 low. So I'm just watching these fibs because this 1.272 has actually been really showing a sign of stability. Every time price kind of goes through it, it really finds its way back to it. So that's why I'm maintaining these fibs on this chart. So right now, the 10287, it looks like it can have the ability to hold. It's been basically holding it for the past 4 months in a row. So it looks like if it can continue to do that, then yeah, it can go back up to that, the 144, 16, and above, and all that. And even if you look at AVAX here on the weekly chart, it's actually back above the baseline and the conversion line as well for the first time since last year, basically December of last year. It hasn't been above those in a long time. So even this one looks more and more bullish. Like every single chart really is slowly progressing and looking more and more bullish. So I cannot believe people are actually bearish on altcoins right now when you look at X, but it's just because they pay attention to price, and price affects their emotions. And when they see red all the time, they just get depressed. But when you look at the pattern of what's actually things are doing, the trend is changing from something that had a lot of resistance above to having less and less and less. So I think it's just a matter of time, and I'm bullish AF.
And remember, if you're watching price action from day to day, the market they've nailed this evil trick where they run the price up in after hours. So it hits resistance before the market even opens, and then it just sells off all day long. That's every day looks like a red day, except that they're starting higher. So it's
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I can't believe that Doge and Link monthly going sideways and spooning into the Ichimoku cloud is considered a gateway drug. But on the other way, you can't think about it. Yeah, spooning does lead to, so I think that's a very good pun. I appreciate that. Thank you, Matt.
Yeah, see, it's a gateway drug to higher prices. I mean, it's basically everything we dreamed of, and that's why you love Link so much, because it reminds you so much of Doge.
Yeah, and they are both lagging. That's why I love them so much. But anyway.
Yeah, laggards.
Do you have a fetch AI? I think somebody mentioned fetch too earlier.
Oh yeah, I got El Fecho Ramo. Yeah, so here's fetch. So fetch is actually on the weekly chart back below some levels, but if you just look at like the baseline and the conversion line, but if you just look at the fibs here, It's progressing, right? It's breaking out. It got rejected at the 382. It kept on back testing the 236. So this is not broken. It's fine, right? This is just taking its time, taking its sweet time for a major previous resistance, breakout, back test, flipping to support. That's basically all it's doing, right? Even if you use nothing else except for some little random line like right here, previous resistance, flipping to support, that is what Fetch is doing. So even Fetch that is lagging can't be too bearish on this chart.
Let's see.
Very
Before
nice.
we do the requests and stuff, if you could show my chart, my screen one more time, Matt. I want to show everyone the list, the master list. If you haven't watched Kat's video, you really ought to go. You owe it to yourself to go back and watch it. But here is the list: the stocks of Palantiring. You can take a screenshot of it. It's Coin, IREN, Galaxy, Futu, Net, SoFi, Affirm, Shop, and Tesla. He also mentions silver, the precious metal. And then we were just talking about before the show and yesterday, what in this morning show, one of our morning show people asked actually it was yesterday, is Roblox Palantiring? And Kat's answer was yes, absolutely. It's been Palantiring for a while now. And then Kat also mentioned a stock called Dave that he had recently got a request for that looks like it's Palantiring. So there you go. And now we can go on to the I don't know, lightning round? Question mark?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. All right, let's go. This is Roblox. It's actually, it is Palantiring by several definitions. First of all, I broke about the 0.76, broke about 0.86. I can't believe there's actually a definition for Palantiring, first of all, which is kind of silly. But the Bollinger Band is fully expanded. Like you can see the upper Bollinger Band is expanding, lower Bollinger Band all the way down, it's expanding. The only issue with this stock is why doesn't it just break about all-time high? Why does it have to form this inside candle? Why does it have to be so boring? Well, it's because it's a little bit about the upper Bollinger Band here, isn't it? So it's just have a little bit of a problem trying to get it up right now, just because it's a little bit tired, needs to kind of cool down here. Wait for the Bollinger Band to come and give it some support before it can really do that. But to answer the question, to illustrate that point, that is the case. Somebody requested ELF. ELF is a monthly chart being shown here. It's a little bit rough for me to kind of make an assessment in terms of whether or not it's going to break above the resistance. First of all, it got rejected so far at the 0.618 log fib, and it's also got close to the 20-month moving average, which it has still had a hard time breaking above, but looks like it might be forming a little bit of a consolidation pattern over here. Some people might even say maybe a little bit of an inverted, head and shoulder pattern, perhaps. How low is this shoulder going to get over here on the right side? We don't really know for sure, but it does look like it is consolidating, and it does look like it might need to build some energy over here to try to push about the resistance. If it's able to break about the resistance, great, go higher. If not, then maybe in more lows here. We haven't had that higher high yet, so I'm not really necessarily going to be absolutely convinced that it's going to be fine. You can see how it's not just 20-month moving average. You also see the Ichimoku baseline up above here is just stuck in a range right here, right? You can also have a cloud down below. It could always backtest the cloud down here below again, the 0.382, or it can end up going to 0.5 or going back up to the 10 or the conversion line up here around $98. All these things are possible. Let's look at a little bit more granular here on the weekly. Now, the weekly Ichimoku cloud, it did end up breaking inside there. It's kind of testing a bottom over there, which is kind of nice. Is there any potential order block? Yeah, there's some order blocks down below around, anywhere from $100 to like, the mid 80s. Does it have to dip down there? Maybe. I think we probably would need a little bit of a higher low here to confirm a bull trend. It's just been extremely unhealthy without the higher low. It's just been going sideways over here. That's a flag, but you never know how this how low is going to get. So it's going to dip somewhere down there. I don't think it's ready to kind of just push above yet. I think more consolidation is probably warranted for this name over here. Now, I do have a position in RCAT. I actually make a video talking about 27-minute video talking about 30-some stocks. This is one of them. Foreign Adam and Eve double bottom here, back test here, right there at the 0.76 log fib here. We've counted that's at the high, that's at the low. Right now, it's bringing about the 0.86. This is very much of a cup and a handle type formation over here. It looks like it's getting ready, gearing up over here to do something cool. The volume here is also supporting that as well. So how high does it go? I don't know. It could certainly hit some of the higher double-digit targets up here, but one at a time. I'm not going to get too crazy about it. It's an ultra small cap stock, so be a little bit more careful with it because you need to be gentle when it comes to these ultra small caps. I haven't looked at this for a long time. This is Applied Digital Corporation, APLD. I guess it's trying to break back above the 0.786 here. It kind of got close to 0.86 here. Couldn't really push through. Had to come back down. I guess it stopped at 0.5 right there. And then
Boom, nailed it.
Yeah, eventually just kind of forming, a little bit of higher highs, higher lows, trying to get back up above. And right now, so far for the month, we are peeking our head about the 0.786. So if we're able to do that, then I think you're going to have some further bullish continuation here. Bullish band starting to expand here. So it's a pretty good setup in terms of pushing up, at least to re-challenge the 0.86 around the mid-30s. That would be kind of what I'm thinking here. UNH. Oh my gosh. Full bullish expansion, 20-month moving average pointing very heavily to the downside. Way outside the upper bullish band here, forming a little bit of a dragonfly bullish candle here, which I cannot say I can trust it. The reason why this is forming is way too far outside the low bullish band, but the bullish band is expanding. So next month and the month after that could actually go up lower. It can allow price to go down even lower. So that's a little bit scary here, right? I can't say this is bottom. There's no indicator to tell me that it's necessarily bottom. The exception you do have some like volume shelve, some trading history here maybe. So you're going to end up having a little bit of maybe sideways over here, maybe, right? You also look at order block. There are some order block over here so far. So some folks are trying to buy at this range over here. But bottoming usually is a process, right? Even if it's bottoming right here, it can take months and months and months and months. I don't think it's going to V-shape and meta out of here. I mean, I don't really think that there's anything to suggest that. Like what happened with meta is extremely rare. So this is the following nothing to prevent otherwise.
Cat.
Yeah. So,
if you do a retrace from 187.72 that wick in March of 2020 and go to the all-time high, and then you look back, it's lost the 236. It could be going to the 1111 at 214.78.
Yeah. I have it in log, but honestly, it's at the 86. It's got some fit levels support here for sure. Because if you look at log as 86, if you look at look at linear as 86, if you look at log as like 0.786. So it's got some fit level support here, which is why there's a buying block there. Somebody's trying to accumulate here, but it could take time.
I think it could go to the 8886 on.
It could.
The way
it could very well go down there to 215. That's what a lot of people are kind of looking at that level as well. Yeah. Just because there's an order block there doesn't mean that it's not going to push through. Because it doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't guarantee anything. These order blocks,
they ghost those order blocks.
Exactly.
And then as soon as price gets there, they pull them right away and let the price drop.
Exactly. They disappear sometimes, and it's extremely tricky when they do that. So be a little bit careful with them. Here's Michael's strategy. All I gotta say, I don't really have anything new to say. This is a bull trend. Higher highs and higher lows. You put an Ichimoku here. Is basically a couple things. One is it got rejected famously at the 1.618 log fib here perfectly, almost to the cent, right? And then it came back and back tested 1.272. Found support push through about the 1.4 and 4 log fib here. It's just kind of hanging out here in space, hanging around about the conversion line up here, and it's holding extremely well right now. This is a bull market behavior as long as the conversion is being held as support, right? Over here, it wasn't. It broke down underneath of it. This is why the bear market happened. But bear market doesn't happen like this. So I think it's just consolidating sideways over here, building a more powerful move for it to go up higher over time. When that is, I don't know. It depends on Bitcoin. I don't think Bitcoin's over yet. So this has probably got more juice going to it. I was
going to say, with MicroStrategy, a lot of times when the stocks go, once they get past the 1618, the next thing that I look to is the 2618. That's all I wanted to say there.
Yeah, you have the 2.272 and 2.618 Like those are usually some pretty key level. On the log fib, sometimes they also end at 2.272, like Nvidia did recently, and like Bitcoin 2015, 2017, and at 2.272. But But usually, yeah,
That would be
like
like the
if it's
next
able to break
era
through
of
that,
MicroStrategy.
say it again.
That would be like the next era of MicroStrategy once
Yeah.
it leaves the 1618 behind and goes into the towards the 2618.
And I do think that it's going to go higher, but it's getting a little bit exhausted. So I don't think it's going to make that parabolic move like it did. Like I think Palantir was MicroStrategy, but now we're calling Palantiring now because Palantir is like the hot thing that just keeps going up. But this is really like the first explosive stock for the cycle. And right now I think it's getting a little bit tired. It probably keep going up, but it's consolidating, it's taking a break. It's probably going to keep going up though. So. But it might not be like the hot thing anymore necessarily, potentially, because it's already made a huge move up, and I think a lot of people are looking to take profits from it. This thing here, SQNS, it's not a crypto, right? So I'm sure I'm not looking at something that I'm not supposed to look at. If this is what's being requested here, it basically just hit the upper Bollinger Band here. It got rejected on high volume. I'm going to show you the volume here on high volume. Right there, it got rejected. It just came all the way back down, rejected by a very negative sloping 20-week month moving average. I cannot seriously recommend being in this thing. It's also got rejected here by the conversion of the baseline. If you look a little bit more granular here, could it be a trade? Could be a short-term trade now that you got a gap above? Maybe, I think you could retrace back to the mean here a little bit, and that would be like a pretty nice trade there to get up. But the trend so far is down. I wouldn't trust it. You got below support band up above us a resistance, so I wouldn't necessarily trust that move over here. RKT, Rocket Companies, not bad looking, I gotta say. If I do a log fit from the top here to below, you can see how so far it's having a hard time breaking about the 0.76 so far. But it did convincingly break about the 0.618, so you knew it was going to go to 0.76. Now that it hit, what is it going to do? I don't know. Nobody knows. Well, the Bollinger Band is expanding, which is great. I guess this is kind of like the initial stages of Palantiring too, but it's a little bit overextended. Sometimes when you get to 0.76, it's a pretty hard rejection, and you might need some additional time to come back test some things here before going up higher. So I can entirely see
that. 618 back test.
Yeah, I think it might backtest some of the levels, like the Ichimoku cloud here on the monthly. You can see how the volume is also telling you that things are getting a little bit tired too, but this is still early in the month, so maybe it has enough juice to push through. If it pushes through, great. If it doesn't, there's some lower levels to talk about the cloud down here. You see how it's so far overextended about the conversion. All these kind of evil backtests can happen. It's just a couple bucks. It's not too bad, but just kind of pay attention to it. If it breaks through, but when it hits these important fit levels, I usually get a little bit more cautious. But it doesn't look bad on the higher time frame. Like if you want to get into it, if you don't mind the 15-20% volatility, you want to get into it right now, that's fine. Archer Aviation is a pretty decent looking chart here. Now, if you look at the monthly, you can see why it's having a hard time breaking through is because of the 0.76 log fib here, right? They even tried to touch a 0.86 log fib, but just wasn't really able to do that. But the Bollinger Band is expanding, and I think it might be slowly allowing price to kind of move up higher. And it does look like it wanted to keep pushing up higher over time. So we'll see. This is a bull trend. Don't get me wrong. It's just the 0.76 over here is very, very tough to break through. And sometimes it just needs time. Maybe what it's waiting for is a rising tank and a rising conversion line to push price up higher. Maybe we're getting close to it. If it breaks down, then we have to come back test the 8.5, 8.4 range, the baseline, get some support before going up higher again. But I do think that right now is favoring it to break through, sooner rather than later, maybe over the next couple of months or so is kind of what I'm seeing here. So, ONDS. And I think that's going to be the last one that we have here. ONDS is one of those stocks that I think Danny is also, paying attention to. It's been forming higher highs and higher lows ever since October 2023, which, by the way, is when the 10-year has peaked. The 10-year yield has peaked right there, and also the IWM has bottomed right there as well. Since then, it's been forming higher highs and higher lows, and currently is reclaiming the Ichimoku monthly conversion of the baseline. It looks like once it got up here to the bottom of the Ichimoku cloud, it's got a pretty thick cloud over here, so it's going to have some weather underneath over here before breaking through, but it's looking pretty decent. I don't even know where to draw the fibs. Should I draw this at like these low liquidity conditions up here? It doesn't really give me, I guess it could hit the cloud up here right at the 0.618. And that could be a pretty important resistance zone right there. So be careful when it gets up there, but you still got another dollar before it gets up there. So I'm gonna play around the fips here a little bit and see if I see anything else. I don't know. I don't want to be like subjective and just play around the fips, but all you see here is got a little bit of a double triple bottom kind of thing. It looks like it wants to go higher because it's forming higher highs and higher lows. And the next logic level, if you look at this as a channel, it would be going up to the Ichimoku clock right there. You'd probably get rejected there on the first time. Anything else?
Great job, Kat. That was fantastic.
Adios. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's what I do. You know, it's just like to be a cat. You know, stand up with my little cat tummy, little furry tummy. Everybody wants to touch it. I just claw them when they try to do that.
My cat does that
just
too.
talk charts. You know, that's what I do. So yeah.
Hey, how do you think about like subtracting inflation from the charts? Like, you know, there's a component of like Bitcoin's going up really high because the value of the dollar is deflating so quickly. But I don't know. Do you ever think about that at all, or you just kind of you can't separate them? It's just all part of the same thing.
I have two answers to that. First
Oh, wow.
answer, well, I have two answers for that. First answer is based on the algorithm. Algorithms don't care; they based on everything on price. So I think that I'm not gonna try to take into account inflation into my charting just to make sure that I, you know, incorporate and add certain levels. Like I don't think algorithms care about that. Just like a lot of times algorithms don't really care about fundamentals. Like for example, CleanSpark, right? I'm just going to pull up the chart here. Like before like 2000 whatever, like before December of 2000, December 2020, they weren't even a mining company, right? So why does the cloud matter? The cloud is taken into account like 52 candles, right? Like why does the cloud matter? But it does. It's been rejecting over here for a very long time, right? But it's just one of those things that I don't think algorithms care about the fundamentals. They just look at the numbers and say, these are levels that matter. These are levels that don't. The other answer I had for you is this. I think that the entire reason for the SPX to rise over the last century, and I'm going to say like over the last century, like it's only a 6-month chart over here. I don't know what these arrows are here for, so I'm going to remove all that. Looking back in history, there was really no productivity here in the 1970s. You're talking about like Red Dead Redemption, where a bunch of dudes are just like, and there is like nothing to do. They're like, oh, here's some medicine here in the cabinet. Ooh, that's great. Oh, you know, oh, here's like some bandage or something. You know, oh, here's
right? Some guy invented Frosted Flakes.
Yeah, and then they're basically, this is a world where there's a limited resource here. Oh, they have this Frosted Flakes, we have to have it. Or they have these like gunpowder barrels. We don't have any gunpowder barrels. We can't make any. Let's go rob them. You know, like this is the kind of economy that we're talking about here, right? As the economy continues to grow, as we're actually producing things like cars, right? As we're actually producing things like, well, I don't want to be like atomic bomb-y, but radars, you know, if you're talking about things like TV, radio, computers, internet, right? So all these things build wealth, and when they build wealth, they build inflation. And when you have inflation, you need to deflate, or else the poor people are screwed. So what you would do is you're going to keep printing money and printing money and printing money to reflect the idea that, you know, you have growth. It needs to be reflected in something. So if you're invested in companies that are participating in this growth, they would go up together along with inflation as a deflationary force. So everything is taken into account. I think the market still functions okay. You can argue that there's too much debt that's being, you know, in place right now, the debt to GDP ratio and all that crap. You know, you can argue all that stuff. The Great Reset's going to come and all that stuff. But until the United States fail, I think the market is taking into account the inflation, because you also have deflationary forces that are in play, and they actually want inflation, and that, as a result, is why the stock market keeps going higher to the right. That's my long answer.
I like it. Thank you.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah. Basically, I'm sorry to say, I'm not saying that I'm right, but I thought about it. That's all I'm gonna say. the other thing I also want to show too, like people call about bubble all the time. Always put the 6-month candle here for SPX, and I always look at the 2 major bubbles that we have. 3 major bubbles. I'm going to say 4 major bubbles. I'm going to say 4 major bubbles. First bubble is the Great Masby era, right? You know how like the Great Masby is so affluent. He's got like so much money. He parties all the time. He holds a glass of like, you know, whatever you drink, like scotch or whatever around. And you do like the whole Leonardo, like, you know, toast kind of thing. But at that point it was a lot of irrational exuberance, right? Like you cannot have how many candles close outside the upper Bollinger Band here on the 6-month chart, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? What are you going to do? You're going to retrace back to the mean. You're going to have a dump, right? And that's what happened. It dumped. And then the Great the Great Gatsby died, and nobody cared, right? So that's the Great Masby era. The other kind of bubble here is the post-war era, where you have how many candles do you have that are outside of a Bollinger Band here on the monthly? 1, 2, 3, a little bit of correction there. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? This is when Eisenhower came in. Everything was booming. Guess what happened? Well, they're going to print too much money. You're going to end up doing inflation, Vietnam War, and all that stuff. And you have a major correction, right? Big exhaustion, major correction. That took a long time to work out because the economy back then was slow. It was based on oil and all that stuff. And then guess what? Where's the next boom town? Well, the next boom town is the dot-com bubble. How many candles do you have close about the upper Bollinger Band? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? 10 candles, 6-month candles, 5 years in a row, closing outside the upper Bollinger Band. Guess what happens? Well, you're going to retrace back to the mean here. Do we have enough juice to push through and go up? And again, no, because you have Bollinger Band contraction over here. We simply didn't have enough juice to go through. You got rejected about up the Bollinger Band. Guess what happens? You go to the low Bollinger Band here to try and find some support. That was the great financial crisis because you just went boom, 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 right? Everything is over leveraged here from stocks, and then they rotate and over leverage in the small caps into housing, and you have to do that, right? Guess what's the next boom town that was, you know, over exuberance was in 2020, 2021. Boom, boom, boom. Guess what happens? 2022 came, right? Are we in a bubble right now? I would argue no. This is just normal. So anyway, I rest my piece.
Oh my gosh, Matt, show my screen real quick. I just pulled up this the SPX. That's like the SPY doesn't have the same history, but here's the SPX, the same chart that Kat was just doing. I was like, oh, I got to drop a fib on that. So here's here's the market crash, and going back to the market top. So from 0 to 1, and you can look to the right here, and here's where the 141, it ramped to 141, tests back to the 1272, and then goes on to the 1618. And 1618 is the top, goes back to the 141, tries to get over the 1618. Now we're in the 1970s, drops back to the 1272 one more time, a little liquidity grab, and then it starts to get over it leaves the era of the 1618 behind right here in 1984. Leaves the 1618 behind, and now we're in the era of discovering from 1618 to the 2618, and that was just this whole block, right? Oh wait, that's not the tool I want. That's fine. Yeah, from the 1618 to the 2618, right here, and then you can kind of see in what the stock market, the tech bubble, we went to over the 2886, and then lost it, and we tested back. It was a back test of the 2618. Tried to do it again for the financial crisis of 2008, and then we back tested it again, plus an extra liquidity grab as a little kick in the nuts, and then after that, V-shaped recovery, baby, and now we just crested through the 3618, all the way back from this history of the bootlegger era down here, and it's still going. So what's next? Well, I guess it's going to be a while till we see the 4618, because that's from SPX to 41,000. You know, by then, you know, there'll be like Elon said, there'll be like 100 robots for every human on the planet. You know, anyway. There we go.
It's going to be male or female. I care about that ratio. Anyway, no, but Yeah, don't you love it when the fibs and the Bollinger Band tells the story of history? Like, yeah,
Yes.
pretty cool, right?
Oh, look. And then furthermore, I just pulled, let me see, stop being all the way there. Wait, I just have to undo this. Don't do this, but do that. Okay. So now I did the fibs from this 2886 to this 3618. And look, right here in January of 2020. Oh, well, we just had the April 7th low. It just back tested this 886. This 886 between 2886 and 3618. Ooh, look at that. So
Yeah.
maybe we're heading for 7,235 next to the 1168. Maybe that's where we're going next, right there. That would be another. Oh, come here. I want this tool right there. Click.
All right.
That's another 15% higher.
9 o'clock hard stop.
Okay, 9 o'clock hard stop.
Is upon us. We are hard and we're gonna stop. So that's how it rose around here. And sorry we didn't get to the last minor request, but I did talk about IREN earlier in my video that is pinned to my page. So feel free to do that. BTBT is going to take some time, but yeah, that's it, guys. Thank you for allowing me to go into the morning show today. That was fun as well.
Yeah, thank you. That was super fun.
Yeah,
Times all around.
Yeah, and I don't know whether or not Buffett is really buying UNH. Is this some like rumor that somebody just spreading around, or is it true?
Oh my god, that sounds like a rumor. I'll ask Gronk. I ask Gronk everything these days. Everything, absolutely everything.
Well, we can find out offline.
No, it's coming up right now. It took me a minute to swipe that into the keyboard.
That's what he says all the time. It just ruins the mood.
I asked Gronk to give me the quick answer. There's no confirmed evidence that Warren Buffett or Berkshire Hathaway is currently buying UNH.
Oh yeah,
there's speculative posts, but there's nothing concrete.
Did somebody really give us $100? Did Chris X really give us $100 super chat? Did you really do that?
Oh, that's so sweet.
I'm gonna let's get to IREN. Get to IREN. let's
I'm extended. Insert coin.
Minutes and Matt, do you have an IREN chart?
No, go ahead. It's all you.
All right, I'm gonna pull up IREN here. Oh man, thank you, Chris. That was surprising. It was not something that are as poor as are used to around here. Oh, let me share my chart here. Sorry, that might help. All right, I should be able to share now. So, unless if Tracker has something to say about it,
it's fine. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, flip it to me. Flippity. There you go. Thank you very much. It's Palantiring. It's hitting a lot of the criteria here. It finally broke about a 0.786 log fib here that's been having a hard time breaking above for the entire year. How many times did it try to break above? Once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. Couldn't do that because the Bollinger Band wasn't expanding wide enough, right? It was very, very impulsive to get up to 0.786 up here. And usually when things get to 0.786, if it doesn't break, you get back testing some stuff down below. And here, decided to go back to 0.5 here. Got everybody all scared and crying here for $15 to $5. And the next thing you know, boom, boom, boom. All it took just 3 candles to break above all these highs over here and broke about the resistance levels up here. And guess what's happening right now? Bollinger Band is expanding. All this stuff is happening with volume. We did get rejected here at 0.86. That's going to be another level. That's going to be the final boss. If you break above the 0.86, then it's going to go a lot higher. It looks like it wants to ride the upper Bollinger Band on the way up here. And I'm not seeing anything too bearish with this. It looks like we just last week had a little bit of back test here up this horizontal zone of breakout, so it's kind of range bound here. Could it go down lower? It possibly could. It can go down to 0.786 to back test that zone. If I put the Ichimoku cloud, it can even go down lower to the base here. It doesn't have to go down to the Ichimoku cloud down here to $10. I doubt it. I think this is probably it, but those are the levels to kind of pay attention to. You do have an Ichimoku conversion line that's kind of pushing the price up here. It does look like it want to push it up to the 0.86 here again, but we will see. There's no guarantee when it comes to these kind of things. It's just, you know, a single isolated indicator here. But so far as a bullish chart, this is also the reason why I'm starting to DCA into IREN again. I have a cost average of $5, and I just increased my cost average this week to $7. So it is what it is sometimes, but I do like the setup. If you're looking at, well, I'm going to show one more thing here. If you look at some of the higher levels, you'll think I'm crazy, but I'm going to show what, like 1.618, 1.272, 1.4 and 4. And you'll think I'm crazy, but if you break above the 0.86, if you break above the final bars, make all-time highs, $69 is a possibility. You know, if it breaks above that, $111 is a possibility. If it breaks above that, $220 is a possibility. I don't want to be all crazy and more bullish yet, you know, but let's just take one level at a time. Right now, we need to fight through the 0.86, and it's going to be a fight. So I'm going to leave it as that. I know, Chris. I'm showing my appreciation too. So thank you for that. All right, guys. I think we're good to go.
Yeah. Thanks, Kat. Thanks, Matt. Great show, everybody.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Yeah.
Hope you guys were entertained out there in the peanut gallery.
Yeah. We'll see you all later. Take care, everybody.
All right. Bye, guys.